We have a couple of the other organizers inside pushing for there to be an institutional response and accountability to the unchecked, systemic, institutional white supremacy that occurs on campus. We're asking for there to be accountability to the students who participated in a party that the institutional has failed to respond to appropriately and to name it for what it was. So that's why we're here today. Institutional silence is violence. Queen, stop prioritizing white students. Calling attention to racism does not make you a racist. Queens, your silence speaks volumes. Fight racism, smash fascism. Institutional silence speaks volumes.
It's just really disheartening, and I find it so funny that people are just kind of staring rather than trying to start a discussion with any of the people here. No one's trying to start a discussion, no one's asking questions, people are just standing there filming and just kind of laughing, and I think it's so funny to see that. Like, people are throwing books, but why don't you ask? I had one girl in my high school say if there was a person of color who found the party offensive, I would be more than likely to speak with them. But they're not they're not looking out for those people on their own.
We're just gonna ask them like if they have an opinion on the subject, and if you don't want to engage in the discussion, why are you laughing? If you don't want to engage in the discussion, why are you laughing? I don't get it. So there you go. The conversation on racism for these Queen students is a joke. There is no conversation on race. Yeah, so they're literally all fucking laughing about it because it's a big joke to them. So when people talk about a culture of white supremacy on Queen's campus, like this is it. They're laughing at a protest for institutional racism, for a party in which the theme was people dressed up as racial stereotypes from different countries. That was the supposed theme. And then you have these people coming over laughing at this protest for racism. This is the culture they're talking about. This is the exact culture.
No, this is exactly the culture of white supremacist bullshit that we have to deal with. But
Yeah.
they're pussies and cowards across the street that actually won't step up. And when they're actually called out, they actually won't step up because they're actually fucking cowards.
They're not interested in having a conversation.
They don't want that conversation.
They laughed and ran away.
They just want to mock and be child Judah.
They laughed and ran away. They weren't
Exactly,
interested.
they ran away.
They weren't interested in expressing
No.
a logical, meaningful, mature opinion. This is a joke to them.
They know they're racist.
They want to be cowards.
They accept they're racist. They're complacent in the fact that they're racist. That's the issue. It's like the principal's idea
So yeah,
of a
it's easy to make a
conversation
joke
is
about
never
it,
going to
but-
happen.
Well, yeah, it's easy to make a joke from it across the street, but
People approve of it?
They're making a joke of it.
They're
Right?
making a joke right behind you. Yeah.
fuck you.
Good luck, guys.
Real clever, guys.
White mask!
I just want to say that as a student of color here, the racist culture here is the fact that every single time that I feel like I want to speak up about what I feel, I have to start my sentence with, "I'm sorry." That is the racism that exists at Queen's. And if you genuinely believe that this is just about a party, you are the problem. You do not realize that there is a problem. You are the problem if you genuinely think this is funny. This is people's lives we're talking about. Every single day we have to deal with this. Whether it's weird stares from across the street, whether it's weird comments, whether it's me being called a terrorist just walking down the street trying to get to class. Yeah, that fucking happened here. Like, thank you, Queens. This is supposed to be an education. I'm sorry, but a university is supposed to be a place where we learn.
So we are demanding that the institution of Queens set in place clear consequences and accountability for racist actions undertaken by Queens students and actually enforce them. We are demanding that Queens as an institution hire professors and administrators of color in a long-term, stable capacity and provide support from administration in cases of racism, and that the school must follow the recommendations of the Henry Report by eradicating the Eurocentric curricula and actively implementing fair hiring, promotion, research funding, and tenure for professors of color.
I remember walking around my campus in first year at Bader and feeling like an outsider, being both queer and a minority, and never feeling like I really belonged there. And lots of times it's not overt, it's covert. You don't notice why you feel like an outsider, but you do. Maybe you don't have the wealth or the privilege that some of the other students do. You can't go jet setting on the weekend. And maybe sometimes you just feel like your specific intersectionality is kind of ignored. It's like you're weird for being that quiet queer kid on campus, and your relationship is talked about but never to your face. I think that's the type of institutional damage we're talking about here. We're talking about people standing there in silence and saying we're going to have a committee and a report, and not seeing the results of those reports. Take action, do something, make a difference for the people who live here. You know, this is my last year at Queens, and I can't say I'm particularly sad to be leaving, and that's unfortunate to me. When people talk about like Queens pride and like being so proud of being a part of the Queens community, I don't understand that, because I've never felt like I belonged here. And I think that's a really unfortunate place to be. To feel like you can't belong in the place that you pay thousands of dollars to come to school every year. I'm really proud of my program and the things that I learned, because we're forced to ask questions. Ask questions about the world and the political state of affairs and geography and power, and like, why do communities have power or lack it? And my goal in the future is to make sure that communities have voices, that participatory democracy is used to make changes, so that minority voices are heard and that they're actively encouraged. But that doesn't happen if we keep having committees and we never take the recommendations of the committees into account to make the changes necessary. So I'm okay with the committee, but I'm even more okay with the recommendations of those committees being meaningful, and we're taking steps to make that committee balanced. So let's see if Queens can do that, because I want to believe in that. I want to believe that this institution can learn from its mistakes and can reparate them and make sure that whatever happens in the future, that whatever answers we come up with, that we actually institute the changes that are necessary instead of just producing another report. Thank you.